Hey everyone, Dana Rubino here, Windows Central, and this is your Microsoft and Windows News recap for the week of April 1st, 2022. Let's get to it. Alright, first up, this story is a little confusing, so bear with me, but after 3 years, the Your Phone app is now going to be called Phone Link. And that's a more straightforward name and seems to make a little bit more sense, as Your Phone, or was it My Phone, was always a little bit confusing. Now on the Android side, the app goes from Your Phone Companion to Link to Windows. If that sounds familiar, it's because up till this point, Samsung phones and the Surface Duo also had a thing called Link to Windows, which always meant a deeper level integration. You see, those phones have this feature built into the operating system, so it shows up directly in settings and the Quick Actions Notification Center. They also get other features like the Apps feature, which is different from Phone Screen. They also get copy and paste, so that's kind of the big difference here. Now what the change is on all Android devices, it's going to be called Link to Windows, but those Samsung devices and Surface Duo still get some special features. We should also mention now that Honor phones, or at least select Honor phones and ones coming out later on, are also now going to be getting the same partnership features as Samsung and Surface Duo do. Now maybe Motorola will do this down the line, or OnePlus, but it's up to those companies to work with Microsoft to integrate this into their ROMs to make this OS update actually happen for those devices. But for now, yes, it is now just called Phone Link and Link to Windows, so get it straight. Next up is a big story that our own Jez Corden broke on Windows Central, and it's very exciting. Yes, it appears Microsoft is finally going to do an Xbox Game Pass for families. Now, there's no ETA on when this is actually going to launch. It could be later this year, and we don't have pricing details. All we know is at the high level, you can sign up to 5 people in your family, and it's going to be cheaper than having 5 individual accounts, which to be honest is all we ever wanted when it came to a family Game Pass. So the good news is this is finally happening, though details remain unclear. Hopefully we'll be finding out more soon. Alright, next up, are you running Windows 11 and not using Microsoft Edge as your default browser? I'm not judging you. That's not true. I'm totally judging you. But it's okay, because Microsoft released a new patch this week to all Windows 11 PCs that's going to make it easier for you to switch and set a new default browser to your choice. Up until this point, you could do it, but it was cumbersome and way too many steps. And a lot of people complained that Microsoft was making it hard to make a default browser of your choice, and luckily that seems to be now fixed, although companies like Firefox are still complaining for whatever reason it is. I should point out though, this does set your default browser. Extensions like PDFs to say FTP sites will still need to be manually set using the same tools to whatever browser you want. That means you could say keep Edge as your PDF browser, as well as using Chrome as your default overall browser for the system. Still, this is a welcome move, and we're glad that Microsoft is doing it, as it makes things easier for consumers. Alright, move over NVIDIA and AMD, as Intel has officially unveiled its Arc GPUs for laptops, specifically the A series, which includes Arc 3, Arc 5, and Arc 7. Basically, the higher you go, the more performant these will be. Now, the first ones to launch will be Arc 3. And that's going to be coming in the Samsung Galaxy Book 2 Pro 15-inch, which should be launching relatively soon. Of course, we'll see in other laptops, specifically thin and light, what are traditionally called the Ultrabook series. So these aren't going to be the big beefy gaming laptops, but stuff built for kind of creators and people who want to game. Now the 5 and 7 series will be aimed more at pro gamers who need much more power, and Intel will have more details about those later on. The Arc 3 though should compete against an RTX 2050, which should be very interesting. Now we should point out that there's a lot of stuff going on with these chips. I wrote it up in a big article, so if you want more information, go check it out on Windows Central. There's all sorts of things there, including Intel XeSS, which is their super sampling, which will compete with NVIDIA's DLSS, as well as AI acceleration, Intel Deep Link technology, and a thing on AV1. If you don't know what AV1 is, it is a new codec. This is going to be the first chip that supports both decoding of AV1 as well as hardware accelerated encoding, which is actually a pretty big deal for creators, as a lot of apps like ones from Adobe are already optimized for it. In terms of gaming, with that Arc 3, you should be able to hit 60 frames per second, full HD on AAA titles, including Doom, set to medium and or high graphics, which should be pretty impressive. This will be a massive jump over the Intel Xe graphics currently found in laptops. In fact, it's supposed to be twice as performant. Of course, we're going to put this all through the ringer, so we'll be reviewing these chips in the coming weeks and months, so stay tuned for that. All right, next up is Halo, not the video game, but the TV show, which after years of development hell, has finally launched on Paramount Plus. And apparently it's doing quite well, as Paramount Plus reported that it was its most viewed premiere of any show yet. Now, to be fair, Paramount Plus doesn't have a ton of original content, but it did recently premiere 1883, met with critical acclaim, and it had 4.9 million viewers, which means Halo apparently had at least 5 million people tuning in. Now, in a weekend poll on Windows Central, 69% of you, nice, actually said you really enjoyed the very first episode, despite the mediocre reception from critics. That says Season 2 is already in the works. In fact, more details about it should be coming out soon. There has been some controversy, though, with Season 1 already, as in one of the very first episodes, they showed Master Chief's face, which is pretty weird. And some people says he looked like a certain someone from Microsoft. I don't know, it may be. But let me know what you guys think about the Halo TV show so far in comments. Is it good? Is it bad? Do you think it'll get better? In our final story, Surface Duo 2. Now, we've argued that Microsoft's recent updates have gone a long way to improving the stability, making it fast and reliable, so much so, we can actually recommend that you buy this device now if you are interested in a dual screen experience. But don't take our word for it. Friend of the site, Michael Fisher, aka Mr. Mobile, has done a 13-minute long-term review of the Surface Duo 2 after he was quite critical of it back in September. So what does he have to say after all the software changes? Is it good? Is it bad? Well, it's definitely a mix of both, but he comes across as much more positive than when he was back in September, and says that, yeah, there's something about this device that makes him keep coming back to it. Anyway, go watch that full review, as it's definitely worth your time. All right, so that does it for this recap. Leave me a comment below on your favorite story. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.